Yo, what's going on, my people? It's your big homie Crooks the Great, aka CTG, and I'm back at you guys with another banger of an Undisputed video. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about the two things that absolutely need to be changed in Undisputed. Now, I wanted to make this video in light of the news that we found out just recently of the desync. Now, for those of you guys that didn't watch my video on desync, pretty much what you need to know is Undisputed probably is not going to be able to adjust desync. And as we all know, if you guys have played this game online at all, you guys know desync is by far, hands down, the biggest problem that we have with the game right now, because it affects every single part of the game, from punch accuracy to hit confirmation to ghost punches to all of this stuff goes haywire. But it sounds like, you know, Steel City is having a problem finding a solution to this. So there's more of a chance that we're not going to get it fixed in the game. So with that being said, we're going to move on to a couple of things that I feel like they can adjust and that absolutely need to be adjusted in the game going forward. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about is footwork speed / loose movement. Now, you guys have been hearing this a lot amongst the community, and even I believe a couple months ago, JX Shep or Saf, I can't remember exactly who posted it, but they did say that they were looking into some solutions for loose footwork / movement speed going back, and that is still the number one priority outside of desync. The loose footwork needs to be adjusted, whether that be adding a stamina tax to it, slowing it down as a retreating fighter, slowing down the lateral movement of retreating fighters that do not have high footwork stats. And I know there's going to be those of you guys that are like, hey, but there's fighters that are quick, we don't want them to be slowed down. I'm not talking about them. I'm not talking about the Sugar Ray Leonards. I'm not talking about Lomachenkos or guys that have over 90 footwork speed stats and that are very realistic with quick footwork. I'm not talking about those guys. I'm talking about guys like Deontay Wilder, that for some reason in the game moves like he's Muhammad Ali. You know, guys that have Sebastian Fundora, who literally is moving like he's Sugar Ray Leonard in the welterweight division, making him damn near impossible to fight on the outside or even fight on the inside. So them adjusting footwork or loose footwork is an absolute must, man. It is an absolute must. They need to slow it down, in my opinion, a little bit. They need to slow it down, and they also, by slowing this down, it's also going to make ring cutting a more viable option, which for those of you guys that are Canelo players and that want to play with guys like Canelo or, you know, Rocky Marciano or something like that, you know, well, Rocky Marciano, not really too much, but like guys like Joe Louis or Joe Frazier, you know, guys that, not really Joe Louis either, and you know what I mean, like guys like Joe Frazier, guys like Canelo that have slower footwork speed, you know, they're kind of more heavy footed. It's gonna make for a better time and a better experience for you guys in fights, because it'll allow you guys to ring cut opponents, which will make for a better time for you to land shots. And that's really what's needed right now. The game is really out of balance because loose footwork is so overpowered right now. It has guys using Canelo in loose footwork and just bouncing around the ring. It has Deontay Wilders moving like they're Muhammad Ali's. It's got everybody kind of just all fighting the same way. Now, I know Ash in his interview said that they did this. They added loose footwork in to try to balance out the fact that, you know, fighters from like the 1950s, 60s can keep up with the current generation of fighters. But I don't feel like you need to have loose footwork in order to do that. I mean, it's helpful, but it's not being used the way that it was intended to be used. So it needs to be toned down just a little bit. And not to mention that it throws off tracking as well, because it causes more tracking issues and piles on with what's already wrong with the game because of desync. So slowing down loose footwork, slowing down retreating fighters as well is an absolute must, and that's why it's the first thing that I'm talking about here on the video. Now, the second thing that needs to be adjusted, and that is an absolute must, is adding a stamina tax to diagonal dodges. Now, this is becoming more and more prevalent amongst the community, especially when you get into like platinum players. Even like gold ones are doing this. And you guys have probably ran into it if you've played a lot, right? Boxers that legit, they punch, they diagonal dodge, they punch, then they diagonal, and it's just spent the whole time just diagonal dodging. Which, don't get me wrong, there are some boxers that do this, but that's a very taxing style to have. It is. It's a very taxing style to just be weaving and diagonal dodging and doing all that. It takes a lot of energy, and it doesn't do that in the game. There is not a heavy stamina tax on diagonal dodges right now, and it's really making for a less enjoyable experience. Because if you're in a fight and somebody's just jabbing you, or they're hooking you and then diagonal dodging, then they're hooking you again and then diagonal dodging, stepping out, and then they're stepping back in with the lunging jab, it's ridiculously hard to combat that style because they're always diagonal dodging. And then on top of that, you're having latency issues with the game on top of desync. It just makes for a much more it makes for a really terrible experience overall, is what I would say. And people are abusing it, and you guys will see it. Maybe those of you guys that are in like lower, like silver, and maybe at the beginning of gold, you guys might not see it. But when you get amongst the higher levels, the higher ranks, like the platinum 1s, 2s, 3s, gold 1s and stuff like that, guys are starting to use that style more and more, and it makes for an incredibly difficult and annoying experience. So adding a stamina tax onto diagonal dodges, and I'm not talking about a heavy one, I'm talking about something overall that decreases your long-term stamina as the fight goes along with the more diagonal dodges and the weaves that you're doing. So that way, even though you might lose the beginning of the fight, maybe the first 4 rounds, right? The first 3 or 4 rounds you're having trouble, but at least you can bank on mentally, hey, you know what? They're diagonal dodging, they're weaving a lot, they're doing all this stuff. Their stamina is going to be depleted later on in the fight. So then you could potentially start to score knockdowns. You can start winning more rounds, and it makes the fight that much more balanced. Because right now, with the way that it's going, with the weaves and diagonal dodges and stuff like that, and the side steps, like it's just not balanced at all, and it really creates for a really bad experience. And more so right now that non-power shots and more specifically the straights to the body are doing getting random stuns. It's making for a really incredible and a really incredibly hard time to deal with right now, and it's annoying, and it literally is winning a lot of people fights. I legit just had a fight last night where in the first round my opponent was just dodging, weaving, dodging, and he got a random rock to my body while I was at 99% stamina and I wasn't even throwing anything. So that definitely needs to be adjusted as well. Now, kind of an honorable mention, I didn't want to talk about it as one of my first 2 points, obviously, is going to be the stuns that people are getting off of let me move myself over a little bit. I didn't realize I was that far off. But the stuns that people are getting off single shots, the random ones, that needs to be adjusted too. But the reason why I didn't add that into the game or into this video as one of the 2 things that I was talking about is because the devs have already came out and pretty much said, or the community managers have already come out and basically said that they're looking into adjusting that already. So it looks like a patch for that is on the way. But let me know, what do you guys think needs to be adjusted going forward now that, we got the answer pretty much to desync going forward? What do you guys want to see changed outside of that? Do you guys want to see loose footwork being adjusted? Do you guys want to see different animations? What would you guys like to see? Please comment on the bottom of this video and let your opinions be heard, because like I've said before in previous videos, the devs do pop into these videos and do check the comment section on these videos. So please let me know, let the world know what you guys want to see changed in Undisputed. But that's it for me, my people. If you guys did enjoy this video, please make sure to slap that subscribe button as well as slap that like button, man. It would be much appreciated. So that way this video does get tossed into the YouTube algorithm and more people get to enjoy the great content that I have for you guys here on the channel. But until next time, my people, take it easy, be safe, enjoy the rest of your guys' day, afternoon, evening, depending on where you guys are watching this from. And I will see you guys in the next video.